Okay, these are the latest stories. Hey, if there's any auto racing fans out there, I cover it. I touch it. Hell of a lot of guys in media don't know anything about it, don't care about it. We cover it here. This is unique. This Michael Andretti war with Formula One. A lot of people just don't know this. Michael Andretti, IndyCar fame, Andretti Autosports, put together a $250 million offer, applied for membership to Formula One, wanted to build his own F1 team. They rejected it. They deny that it's an anti-American sentiment. The feeling is we have 10 F1 teams. If we add an 11th, even if we take the $250 million and cut it in the pie, it's going to take away a lot of our revenue that go to our European teams. We don't want to do that. So then Andretti said, I'm not giving up. A couple weeks ago, Andretti announced they were opening a factory at Silverstone, the road race course in England, to build F1 cars. Cadillac engines will power those cars. Last week, he hired a guy by the name of Peter Simons, who is the second highest executive in F1's hierarchy. Peter Simons built championship teams for 4 different F1 cars. So that's the background. Andretti is going full force ahead, even though F1 rejected the first application. Said, come back and see us in 2028. Well, he says, I'll be back in 2026. Now, get this. F1's president yesterday makes the comment, Andretti should not apply for a charter as an expansion race team. We don't need 11. I recommend Michael Andretti and all of his sponsors buy one of the troubled teams that we have. And there's about 3 teams that are just really struggling, don't have the resources, aren't competitive. But I sense from auto racing people that I network, Andretti doesn't want to do that. He wants it to be his own clean piece of paper. His people, his philosophy, Cadillac engine builders, with Peter Simons designing it. He does not want to purchase the U.S. Haas 1 team, which has had no success for 5 years. Mm-hmm. He does not want to purchase the money-troubled Alpine team that can hardly compete, because he doesn't want to inherit their contracts, their drivers, their buildings. He wants it done the Andretti way. It'd be fascinating to see where the story goes. The other big story, nobody saw this coming. Tony Stewart, legendary NASCAR driver, is folding his teams. He owns 4 NASCAR teams with 4 young drivers, 2 Infinity race teams for the developmental series. That's 6 teams that he's folding. They had a very tearful staff meeting over the weekend announcing they were folding 6 teams, 300 employees on waivers.
Wow.
And he says the cost of trying to build championship teams is so expensive, and they've lost some sponsors along the way. We just can't keep doing this any longer. So that's a bit of a shockwave. Now, he owns 4 charters. That's what they're called, the ownership paperwork for 4 different NASCAR teams. He's going to ask for 20 to 40 million per team to sell the charter to. John Riley wants to start his own team. Michael Jordan is a part owner. Brad Daugherty, the NBA, is a part owner. Hockey players are part owners. Saudi Arabian groups own some of the NASCAR teams. So he's going to try to get 20 to 40 million per, but him leaving racing is a bit of a shocker. Quick comment on Scottie Scheffler. I don't know how you do not obey a police officer. I don't know how you walk away from an issue where the police officer fell down as you were driving away and you dragged him. I don't understand how you negotiate your way out of a felony assault charge you get by the police officer and for the traffic violations. But Scheffler said, I'm not pleading guilty, and I am not accepting a plea bargain. This was a misunderstanding. Louisville police, who criticized the lead officer for how he handled it, have dropped the charges. No charges at all, so he leaves. And one other note in golf. Chris Riley, a longtime PGA member, won a few tournaments, came to the University of San Diego at a young age to become their coach.
Nice.
He led the Toreros to 5 NCAA tournament appearances in golf in 7 years. He just retired. Chris Riley's looking for his golf clubs. He's going on the Senior Champions Tour, and he will play with that select group. Cool. He just wants to get back at it, but he did a really nice job without a lot of resources, University of San Diego golf. John, You got things to talk about here. Rip something off the hot headline page.
Look at that list. There's a lot of good stuff on there. First of all, the F1 situation with Andretti, the thing that wigs me out is they want to keep it to 10 teams, and it is so close-minded. It's like a zero-sum mentality. When you add one, other people lose, When you add teams, the pie gets bigger. You're not slicing the pie into narrower slices.
Yeah, and they got 3 races in the States, and they want to expand the schedule to 5. Of course, there's lots of money here. Well, there'll be more money if Andretti comes in too. Now, I don't think it's a snap of the fingers they're going to do well. It takes a long time with engine building and with downforce packages and chassis to build a competitive F1 program. U.S. Haas, which was an American-based team out of North Carolina, has been there 5 years and has just struggled. They got all the money in the world. So I'm just surprised they're treating Michael Andretti and his heritage and his history the way he is. But tell you what, that guy is stern. We're going to do it. We're doing it at Silverstone. We're doing it with Cadillac, and I'm going to apply again. I think there's going to be global pressure on F1 to let this guy become part of the fraternity.
Doesn't it seem weird to you that when Cadillac is an engine for NASCAR? I mean, I always think of that's the car your grandfather drove, so it's funny. The other comment I'll make with Scottie Scheffler is I was reading that the video evidence did not match what the police officers were saying. So the police officers were essentially lying, and that undermined their case. And from my perspective on this whole thing, it did seem kind of ticky-tacky. Did he maybe a traffic violation? Sure. But I don't think this needed to be a felony.
Well, there's no video of the cop being dragged because the cop was chastised because he did not turn on a video on his shoulder.
Yeah.
Which could have taped it.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't have any other video of Scheffler driving away. But since when? And I don't know, it's the mindset of the athlete. Well, I don't have to do what that cop says. I'm just going to continue to drive towards the gate to go to the Valhalla Country Club so I can practice for the next round of golf. When do you not do what a police officer says? And they were really angry. Some of the language I heard on one of the other videos, they were angry that cop didn't pull a gun on them in the car.
Well, they were probably really hypersensitive because of the tragic,
fatality.
Yeah. So I get that. I know this just all seemed very overblown.
Okay. So that's where we are. This podcast is